Okay, and so now I will hand it over to the presenters for 251 Shenley Drive.
Good evening, all. My name is Mickey Bethune. I am a policy analyst with the City of Pittsburgh's Department of Mobility and Infrastructure. Ali's just
Uh,
getting her screen share
Hello,
pulled up.
everybody.
There she is.
Sharing my screen. Y'all hear me okay?
Yep.
Awesome. All right, my name is Ali Azarello, and I am the Sustainability and Resilience Planner in the Department of City Planning. And I'm here with my colleague, Indomi. Can introduce yourself, Mickey.
Hi, is my microphone working okay?
Yeah, can you have yourself?
Yeah. Am I coming through okay?
I think you might have to have your.
Sorry, Mickey, I can't hear you. Give me a second. Okay, can you say something now?
All right. How's this? Is that
Oh,
working
okay.
now?
Yeah.
Perfect.
So,
Perfect.
sorry, it was on my end.
Oh, all good.
Um,
Yeah, Mickey Bethune, policy analyst with Domi, and I was the principal writer for this CFI grant that we'll be talking about.
all right, so a little bit about what Pittsburgh is currently doing in the electric vehicle space. In 2021, the city released an EV charger strategic plan. Um, and part of that plan was some of it was to have some climate goals of reducing air quality or improving air quality by reducing tailpipe emissions and to um, follow the market growth of EV chargers in the city. And a little bit so far about what the city's been doing. There are around 174 electric vehicles in the city's own fleet, which represents about 12.5% of the total fleet. And to try to work towards some of the goals in the strategic plan, the city went after a federal grant, the Charging and Fueling Infrastructure Grant. And we ended up being awarded this grant this past fall. And then in early January, we got a signed grant agreement with the Federal Highways Administration. So why does Pittsburgh need public EV charging access? For starters, there's a rise in EV ownership in Allegheny County. Based off the PennDOT registration map, there are about 15,000 registered electric vehicles in Allegheny County, and then around 5,000 plug-in hybrids. So with this increased adoption of EVs and a higher need for charging, some residents have already started going about creating their own methods of charging their EVs in the right of way. And these methods some of them aren't exactly safe or permitted. Like you can see some of these pictures in the middle here. There's like a stub up with an outlet coming up. Some of these can cause some safety hazards. In this bottom left picture, there is this electrical cable here across someone's like driveway over the sidewalk. Um, prohibiting like ADA access and just like overall safety. Some other pictures of, cables coming out of second story windows. So we saw some of these unsafe methods that people are already doing around the city and some other cities. Um, and so that's why with this this federal CFI grant, we're using the money to install some public EV charging. So with this grant, we have a total of 21 proposed sites that the money from the grant will enable us to do. Phase one of this project includes 4 community parks and 2 Pittsburgh Parking Authority owned surface lots. And then phase 2 of the project includes the remaining 3 PPA surface lots and 12 community curbside right-of-way locations. The timeline for implementation of phase 1, construction for these sites will be happening in this coming late fall. And then for phase 2 of the project, it will be in about a year from now. And so at each site location, we are proposing installing 2 dual port charging stations. So each station will have 2 ports, allowing to charge 2 vehicles at a time, and then each location will have the 2 dual ports. So 4 ports per location, meaning 4 cars, 4 parking spots total. And with all the site numbers combined, we are looking to install a total of 100 ports with the CFI grant money. Now, a little bit about the different types of EV charging. There are 3 different levels, and the higher in level that you go, the more miles of range that you get per hour the car is plugged in. The level 1 chargers, you see these in some single-family homes, condos, or multi-unit residential buildings. This is the lowest level where you get the 2 to 5 hours or 2 to 5 miles of range per hour. And then level 2 chargers, you bump up a little bit and get the 10 to 30 miles of range per hour. You see those also in some single-family homes, in the workplace, for fleet and some public options. And these level 2 chargers are the ones that we are looking at to install at the site locations. And then there is the level 3 of the direct current fast chargers. These are more of your stop and go, more similar to a conventional like gas station type of charger that you might use on like a road trip to you get the 150 to 350 plus miles of range. So these are more for like your fleet, public, or some multi-unit residential. I'm not sure, Bailey, if you had some more things on the technical side to say about the chargers, the different types of chargers.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, everyone. My name is Bailey Knapp. I work for Duquesne Light Company as a project developer. So we have a charging program and fleet service that we give out to Duquesne Light customers, and we work to partner with, governments, community organizations. Our program is really built to cover a lot of the infrastructure costs related to actually doing these charger station programs, and this is the partnership that we have with the city of Pittsburgh here. So really on the CFI grant that was done, we provided match dollars on a certain amount of projects, and then the whole total, we're providing, technical support and project management for the rest. Regarding the charger speeds, the level 1s are very slow charging, like I always said, 2 to 5 miles per hour. I like to say it's the same power that comes to charge your phone, to charge, to use your toaster in the morning. And then you really kick up to those level 2s. Those are the ones that you actually have like an electrician come out and install in your house. That's more of an upgraded power. And this is what we would be looking to actually install at the Oakland site here. I looked at other charger stations also in the area, and a lot of them are 7.2 kilowatts, which is about overnight, like 8 to 9 hours of charging. You see them really in the UPMC hospitals that are in the areas, and then also the parking garages have them. I didn't see many accessible open ones actually to the general public, except maybe over at, by the botanical gardens. So I might need to fact check on these, but I think we're looking at a 19.2s for the area. So these will actually be one of the faster community charging and actually open to the whole public in the area. But back to the actual program, everything in orange is what DLC covers with our own costs. So we'll generally look to come off an existing transformer. So whether that's, a ground unit or looking to come up from an overhead transformer that's actually on like the power lines. We install a separate meter and dedicated panel to those charger stations. And then we provide all the conduit and wiring, engineering, and design. The only thing that the customer, so the city of Pittsburgh in this case, is responsible through the CFI grant, is looking to actually purchase and install those charging equipments. And like I said, we have this program open for, businesses, nonprofits, other municipalities in the service region. So it's a cool program that we're looking to build out charger stations throughout the city and make them a lot more affordable to actually pull off.
Yeah, thank you, Bailey.
Hmm?
These next few slides are just going to be some pictures of examples of what some of the EV chargers might look like in our city. These pictures are actually from an example that Duquesne Light did through their program that Bailey was talking about in Swissvale. The picture on the left is of the actual charging unit itself. You can see this one does have the two ports, the two different cables. This model isn't one that we are looking at for our CFI project, but there are some pictures of ones that we are considering in the next few slides. And then the picture on the right is some of this utility infrastructure that Bailey was talking about that Duquesne Light covered through their program. There was a new transformer put in this location, like on the pole next to this like rack panel. And also in these pictures you can see this infrastructure isn't hindering the sidewalk. So it can still be used as a regular sidewalk, and there is still room for like a wheelchair for ADA compliance. And that's how we'll look in some of the other right-of-way locations. It won't be hindering the sidewalk like it is in this picture. Some other pictures on the left, examples of what the chargers could look like in a parking lot, like some of the park locations that we have, or the PPA surface lots. In these pictures too, you can see just a general idea of what the charging stations look like. They're pretty tall, but they're slim. The picture on the left is an example of the type of charger that we are looking at installing for the CFI project. Again, you can see the dual ports on it, charging 2 cars at once. And these chargers are about 6 feet in height. So like I said, just a little tall, but they are pretty slim. And then lastly, just a few more pictures of what potential charges could look like in parking lots, just different examples of different models. And then this picture in the lower corner, what the charging station looks like next to a person, just the height comparison of them. Yeah.
Okay, over to me. Thank you, Ellie and Bailey. So then the next question is how did we choose these locations to install and apply for the grant? So at the time of writing the grant, it was under the Biden administration's built infrastructure plans, and there was a lot of focus on equity. So these are some maps of showing some inequity measures within our city. We had to overlay that with existing charge ports. We used a website called plugshare.com, which is a free available community sourced website that shows you all the charges within in your region. So overlaying that with these equity measures, as well as the federal equity measures for Justice 40 neighborhoods, we determined we needed to hit a certain percentage. I think it was 40% needed to be in Justice 40 areas. And so that's how we came up with our distribution. So next slide, please.
Sorry, I don't know what happened. Okay, sorry.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so this is the map of, after all that analysis, where we ended up. So as you can see, the green dots are the future proposed right-of-way charges, which is what the Schenley Drive location is going to be. You can see it right there in the middle. And then some of the other city parks around the area, and then in orange, and then the blue dots being the surface lots in partnership with the Pittsburgh Parking Authority. Those lots in particular were chosen because they don't have boom gate access. So essentially, the grant said that you need to be able to drive in and up to a charger 24/7, 365 days a year. Obviously, surface lots without a boom gate allow for that. Next slide, please. So this is, again, in partnership with Duquesne Light, who identified feasible transformers around the city. This site was chosen. It hit a lot of the other grant ideals, public use, public access, and also importantly, it had the pre-built infrastructure, the transformer, right there ready to go. So this is where we're proposing to put some charges in. It's I'm sure everybody's quite familiar with it. You can see the porch there and the Gispia and the library to the left. We do have some constraints as to where we are allowed to move the charges, but this is the proposed area first and foremost. So we're definitely looking to get as much feedback as possible from folks to see what will work best for this particular community. Next slide.
That was the end of the majority of our presentation, but I just wanted to quickly mention PGH 2050, which is Pittsburgh's first ever citywide comprehensive plan. This plan expresses a holistic, community-wide vision for the city's future. It helps state government and its citizens plan for and guide how the city grows and makes improvements, and develops goals and policies related to the range of land use, city services, and quality of life topics. This plan is grounded in climate justice and the just transition principles, and we're aiming to proactively better the Pittsburgh for all of its residents. So yeah, and thank you for your time. I can go back to the slide of the Oakland location for some feedback about it. I can open up it to the group if any residents are on the call if they have any questions for us.
It looks like there's a question in the chat. Where along that block will the charger be installed?
Yep. So perhaps, Ali, if you did have the Google Maps open, that would be super helpful. But there is a crosswalk right there just on the south side, I think it is, of the porch. You can see the crosswalk there. So some of the constraints around the placement of charges is that we do need to adhere to ADA requirements. And essentially what that boils down to is there a ramp that somebody could feasibly get out of a vehicle in a wheelchair and roll around to grab the charger from the sidewalk and then plug into their vehicle? So we're looking for locations that are not only close to existing transformers, but also ones that have pre-existing curb cuts. Given that there's a crosswalk there, that does qualify as a ADA accessible ramp. So we'll be looking to put at least one of the units right there to hit the ADA requirements of the grant. And then likely, depending on space that we have, of course, potentially the other one, which would service the remaining two vehicles, just slightly further down towards that intersection, probably about just to the right of where the E is in Schenley Drive there on the right-hand side. We have been out there with some measuring tapes already and just doing a bit of an initial site inspection with our Duquesne Light partners, but that's what we're thinking. Yeah.
So they're both on Parkside, or one's on Parkside and one's on Pitt side?
Both on Parkside.
Both have, and you've been in conversation with the Parks Conservancy?
We have not yet. No, this is the first opportunity we would like to connect with them. Yeah.
Great. Because, right, I just know if you're calling that, south of that crosswalk right by the carousel.
Yeah.
There's a loading zone, like
right
north of it, right? There's the bike lane, and I believe there's parking for like door dashers or whatever for the porch and or curb pickup. There, it's really congested on that side, and I can't remember if there's ADA parking on that side or not.
Yeah. Perhaps, Ali, if I could just go ahead and share my screen, I can do it. Uh,
You
I
currently
think I
have
can.
access.
Do I have access?
Yeah, AJ's getting it.
Okay. Not sure it's come through yet.
Here, I can pull it up.
Yeah, if you just want to go to that Google Street View that we were talking about today.
And while you're looking that up, do you already have this funding, or you have it? Okay.
Yes. So
Great.
we were very fortunate in that we got the paperwork in before there was the change in the federal administration. Some folks missed out on their grant funding agreements being signed, but we were lucky enough to quickly get that in. I think it was like January 9th or something.
Yeah, early January before
Yeah.
the
Congratulations.
Yeah,
thank you. Yeah, so this was one that got across the line. So Ella, if you could just like click up to the left there on the street view, just towards the crosswalk, if you just click up there.
Yeah, this one?
Yep, up there. That's it. A little bit more. And yeah, spin to the right now. If you can grab and spin to the yeah. So that crosswalk, as you can see, with that silver, I guess it's some kind of Toyota or something. That gap there would qualify as an ADA ramp. Now, I believe if you pull and drag to the right a bit more, that black SUV, I think it's a SUV right there. Yeah, if you zoom in on it, that is actually in the loading zone. And there's an ADA access point behind it as well. So that car shouldn't be there. That's technically, I think, parked illegally. And then if you pull around, there is an electric Cybertruck there as well. So that kind of shows you that there is a need in the region for EV charging. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. So where the other ones would be located will be next to yes, just there, Ali. Behind the white SUV and the little Corolla there. I think it is another Toyota, perhaps. So that's kind of where we're thinking initially. There was other talk of putting them around the corner on the other side. Again, just to be cautious of that bike lane, as you rightfully pointed out. We want to be, making sure everything is safe and well away, cords, etc., from bicyclists as well. So, but yeah, those first two that we pointed out were the easiest. There's the least amount of trenching involved, which is good because that's a large cost. There's already kind of green infrastructure there, which with the trees and the light poles. So we know that the infrastructure that's there already doesn't necessarily impact anything environmentally, which is good. With at least on our initial surveys of it, and it should, in theory, be a pretty easy plug and play location in terms of infrastructure building.
Thank you for answering.
Welcome. I should also say, in terms of the parking policies behind that, now we are in developing stages of that. We also have an external consultant helping us with that, the Electrification Coalition. Most of the models that are out there from around the country are basically you pay to park and charge at the same time. And the dwell time parking, regular parking costs can be built into the EV charging costs as well. All of that can be managed over there behind the scenes with the software. So essentially, how do you move people along from charging? Well, you just bump the price way up after they're allotted 2 hours, for example. That's likely the easiest model, but we're definitely going to look into that. You've also probably seen around town the purple smart parking places as well that one of my colleagues is running. That's also a potential as well for making sure the right people are parking there and not kind of ice blocking, as they call it. And just for enforcement overall and making sure people are using the chargers correctly when they should be using it and how they should be using it.
What is the EV enforcement in the city? I don't even know. Sorry.
Yeah, because there's no public right of way, there isn't anything around that yet. The parking lots have got their own because they're behind a metered gate. So you might have gone to the baseball in downtown, and there's the EV chargers there. That comes to mind for myself. So they enforce on their own property, of course. But this is, a pilot, I guess, program for us to figure out which policies for enforcement work best, which method and I guess model is going to work best for the city. Is it better to have this stuff as city-owned infrastructure that we use the funds to pay for other green mobility projects, like more bike lanes, for example, et cetera, et cetera? Or is it better to actually permit these out for the private industry, and then the city just says, well, pay us the permit fee and we'll let you do it. Here's the regulations. So yeah, it's a nascent thing, and it's new for us, but we need to start somewhere, and better to do that with federal dollars than local tax dollars.
And then there was a question in the chat asking if these EV charging stations will be solar powered.
Answer that one.
Go for Bailey.
So in that map view that they were showing earlier near where that carousel site was, there was these like two big green boxes. That's going to be the transformer. So those are going to be powered, through electricity. So what it's going to look like realistically, if it was this site, we would come off the transformers there, and then it would trench underground through the concrete and then stub up on the curbside where those chargers would go. And then, obviously we would patch back all the concrete infrastructure there. But these would not be solar powered. And then that kind of goes into the OPDC's question about construction and excavation that it requires at the sidewalk. Yes, we would, cut into the sidewalk to run the underwire or the conduit underground and then replace the concrete over it.
Yeah, and that follow-up question about connection. Yes, we need to adhere to all the American federal standards and for any kind of hard electronic infrastructure in the right of way. So, yes. Also, a quick note on the solar charging EV. There are some examples of that. If you go down to the 2nd Avenue parking lot in downtown there are some solar canopies that the city purchased through a grant a number of years ago. Those ones were first generation of that. So they weren't as kind of efficient as maybe some of the newer solar models that are out there. Also, the solar models typically, at least the price point that's kind of feasible for a city to purchase, they operate on those kind of 3 to 7.5 kilowatts, which is, again, that kind of long overnight low burn kind of model, which unfortunately isn't really the best model for a quick stop and go. So that's why we're electing to go for the larger, more powerful 19.27, I think it is, chargers. In that also, it's in anticipation of EV charging technology becoming more efficient over time. So right now, the 19.27 kilowatt chargers are probably overpowered for the average EV, but 3-4 years from now, they'll probably be like bang on the money. So that's what we're anticipating.
There was a question about city has rules concerning how EV stations must be connected exclusively through underground power connections. For a lot of like DLC's other charger station projects, we do have like overhead transformers that come off the overhead power lines. So I'm not aware that exclusively needs to come down from like underground power. But to reiterate with some of the pictures that Ali had showed earlier of the infrastructure, these stations really are very, minimalistic or just like, kind of built into the environment. I don't think they draw much attention to them. They're rather small in nature. The actual power source, especially, will come down from a transformer, but, we have those underground connections to the actual station. So they really don't draw too much attention. I guess that's my personal opinion. The charging time per vehicle at these stations for Quick and Go. So I think like when we talk, these like charging stations are not as like, like simple as like gas cars, for instance. These level twos at 19.2 kilowatts, these are one of the faster levels. For level two chargers, you're looking, if your car was about, 0 to 20%, you'll be looking at a full charge in 4 hours. So what you're really looking at in these stations, if you're at the park, um, and you were there for an hour or two, this isn't really a method to fully charge up your car, but at least get, like 50% or kind of top it off while you're already knowing that you're going to be parked there anyways. When you look at those like quick and go, very fast, 10 to 20 minutes, those are the ones you see on like highway locations or like gas stations. Those are incredibly expensive, large, a little bit louder. So that's not really what we'd be looking for in these park locations.
A question also just about the safety of them. Maybe Bailey, you might be a bit more of an expert on the kind of behind the scenes safety shutoffs.
Yeah, I'm truthfully, I'm 4 months into position on the more technical side on how these like panels actually will like shut off in terms of like electrical or fire. I haven't been acknowledged to, I know there's like the, concerns of like EV infrastructure vehicles with like fire hazards. I don't know if there's data to prove that they're more hazardous than a normal car would be. So I'm not sure exactly. I can't give you an exact answer on that.
Yeah, perhaps we'll be able to speak more accurately to that once we've selected a vendor that meets all the requirements that have the federal safety measures, of course. There was another question from OPDC. There's been some concern about residents in Panther Hollow regarding planned installations of EV stations in the PIP-owned parking lot, the sidewalk obstructions that extra power lines may create. Maybe just speak a little bit about how condensed the back end powering can be.
Yeah, this is referring to a DLC project that is in Panther Hollow that I believe is under construction or is planning to be under construction. Mentioning that the extra power line may create an obstruction. Yeah, I'm not quite sure if there's a code obligation to bury the power feed. We get permitting and everything through the city of Pittsburgh when we do these construction designs. So I'm confident that they're within permitting and just, the requirements that the city has for these type projects. But definitely, represented from OPDC, if you have issues and you think this does cause an obstruction, this would be a good time, I think, to look at it and connect with DLC on it.
Oh, thanks, Bailey.
I just wanted to unmute and explain, yeah, we did reach out to Emily and
You did.
it's still not entirely clear. So I was just kind of wondering if there was any regime here that you guys were referring to. This is all new for all of us.
Yeah. Well, let me reach out to Emily because she works on my team with me. So we'll have her reach back out to you and I'll make sure to send her a note. And what's your name, ma'am?
Sorry, I just appeared as OPDC. My name's Andrea Boykowicz.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Another question about will there be user education information at the stations visible? Yeah, so it built into the grant is education dollars as well. So beyond just the kind of ribbon cutting ceremonies, we're also partnered with the Clean Cities Coalition of Western PA. And they're a nonprofit who does educational pieces about alternative fuels. And so they will be on hand to answer many questions. Of course, there'll be information on the city's website once the sites get energized. And I can't speak exactly to each unit, nor the units that we should end up purchasing. But lots of times there's a little QR code on the units that folks can scan with their smartphone. And there's a quick little tutorial video on there. Beyond that, there's also kind of basic diagrams on the units, typically, if you've ever looked at them around town or other cities that you may have been in. Yeah, but not too different to to how your home charging would be. And payment, of course, will be very similar to a tap and go system, just like any other kind of modern transaction.
Guy, was your question just confirming that this was Duquesne Light Company involved? Just clarifying that your comment was in reference to that. And if so, that it is correct. And if there's no more questions, we can close out that portion of the dam and move to the next project. Thank you all.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
AJ, just clarifying,
Okay.
you're going to run the next section, right?
Andrew, were you saying something?
Sorry, I was just asking to clarify. You're still hosting, right?
Oh, yes.
Very good. Thank you.
And this next project, I believe Eugene is on the call.
Yes. Hello. Hi.
Do you have any materials that you plan to
Well,
present?
I have the original permit. Making share that with you guys on my screen, and then we
Okay,
can.
yeah, anything that you wish to share, you can go ahead and share.
Okay, I just press my share button. Let's share my entire documents. I don't know if you can see this. Oh, hello everyone. Hey. So this is a residential house that my friends here, Xiaozhen and Hejia own. We're currently renovating the inside, and we're seeking approval to do some exterior spruce ups. As you can see, the siding is well worn. Some of this metal is peeling off. Can you guys see my mouse? And we need to replace some of this metal. We're trying to keep the original look. We want to repaint the aluminum siding here. And we also want to replace a number of the windows to reach higher energy efficiency. The old ones have since failed. A lot of them are moisture going through, and we need to replace them. This is the front of the building, and these were originally aluminum windows, so we're replacing with in-kind aluminum windows. Yeah, here's some of the items that we detailed that we plan to paint the same color white again, right here. We might be replacing the gutter with a similar or light gutter. This will be determined at the time of work. Here's a side of the building. The side of the building, we plan to do some also window replacement. And there are some siding we want to replace with bricks, such as this one right here. The previous owner had did some very janky fill-in work, and we just want to fill it in with brick, so it looks a little better. Other than that, we do plan to replace all these aluminum windows with aluminum windows again. Here's all the detailed windows. I don't have as glorious of a presentation as the previous, parking project or the EV charging station, but we're just seeking approval for all this exterior work so that we can make it look nice, make it presentable for the neighborhood. And we really aren't changing anything from a looks perspective, mainly just updating just the worn elements. I don't know if that kind of explains our project, and we just seeking approval from the neighborhood association, I guess. I think there's a historical review committee in a couple of weeks, and we need approval from here first before we can go to that next portion. So yeah, that's kind of the exterior project we have. Any questions or comments or?
Was there an invitation given to anybody from the historic review section at DCP to attend the meeting? Because there are design guidelines for the historic district, and I just want to make sure that we're providing the same information that we want to obtain.
Yeah, thank you for that question. I don't believe anyone from the Public Realm Division, which deals with historic districts, was invited to this meeting. But if that is something that would be helpful to share, after, we can definitely do that, or I can have them draft something together. For anyone, yeah, in attendance that may be a little confused, it's usually exterior work on single family homes is not presented or does not require a development activities meeting. This one does because it falls within a historic district. And there are historic district guidelines that exterior renovations have to follow in these districts. But yeah, I believe that is on the city's website, and I can try to get the link here to send in the chat.
I think it's been sent to them before. I don't know how it ended up here, but we were told by someone from HRC to come here first.
Oh, yes, no, that is correct.
Right.
You do need to attend a development activities meeting. I was just mentioning that this project, for example, is kind of like a special case. Typically, homes in non-historic districts would not have to go through this meeting, but because you are within a historic district, yes, this meeting will needs to be completed before going to Historic Review Commission. But yeah, we can open it up if there are any questions or concerns.
Yeah, we have a couple questions from the porch about 28 Oakland Square, and just for context, I'll show you where we are, which is right across the street from the house in question. Let me see if I can get it in there. How are we doing? Maybe not so great, but anyway, we live right across the street. I'm here with some neighbors. We do have a train going by, so I'll apologize for a little bit of noise. So Eugene, a couple of factual things you mentioned. You said you will be replacing the windows, which in fact, some of the windows have already been replaced, and they're replaced with American Craftsman vinyl windows. So I know last time we were in court in front of Magistrate Riccardi, there was lots of assurances. We will be a good neighbor. We will do a good job. And I don't know what's in your heart and your mind. I can only see what's happening across the street from me.
Okay.
It's neither of those, unfortunately. And currently, and I know this isn't historic specific, but let's open it up. You've been using a dumpster in the driveway next to the house as a transfer station for what I hope are permitted projects in other parts of the city. So there's 5 to 6 dumpsters being emptied every month, but there's almost zero work going on in that home. And so you refer to it as a multi-use, or as a house, as a property. This is also our home. So when this is like you're operating a business in our neighborhood, and I know a dumpster is a permitted accessory use when you're doing like work on a structure that's there. But I also see on the building permit that you do have interior, it says interior finishes only. And this is a much grander project than interior finishes. So there's a couple ways that kind of leads me to question what's actually going on. That's the most polite way I can say.
Yes, the reason we were even in this meeting is because we were told to get a permit for the windows, as you brought up. So we need to get approval. So once we get approval, we can actually
change. Eugene, I'm really sorry. My neighbor just had a knee replaced. She fell. I'm going to leave this to the others here. Hopefully we can catch up another time.
I'm not sure. He's asked a question and left.
I'm here. Because he's helping a neighbor who had a knee replacement.
Okay. Sorry. We need to
I want to reiterate, I'm Mary Shea. I live also in the neighborhood very close by, and just want to reiterate everything Jeff said. And the dumpsters are really a big issue for Jeff and us, because you've really turned our neighborhood into back and forth with these dumpsters a couple times a week. But we can move on here. The trouble is that in terms of trust, when you and the owners of 23 always seem to go to the very limits of what's allowed. We don't see a lot of good faith. And so because of that, we're always very, very leery of what you have to say when you say things like, we want to make it better. We want to respect the neighborhood. We want it to make it nice, because we have seen no evidence of that whatsoever. In fact, you have us living in your construction zone with you. Now, one of the questions I have is, are there any reductions in the window size?
There's no plan to be. I mean, everything that you said does not pertain to the building permit, so it's useless. But I'll get to the point. until we get approval, this is going to stay a construction site, you understand? And making it more difficult is not helping. So we really just need to get approval for these windows so we can replace it. And once we get approval, we can move on. Everyone can be happy. I don't understand why we want to make it more difficult. We just want to repaint the siding the same color. The windows will, as detailed in the permit, have the sizes listed right here, as you can see on my screen, and what materials can be used. And one, like as the guy previously said, why it was why we got in trouble in the first place is because we didn't use aluminum windows. Okay, so we're going back.
Because you made the size of the windows smaller than that were originally there. So it wasn't just the type of window used, it was also the size. Yes.
You even bricked up.
Yeah, you
even bricked up one of the windows.
So one of the windows, like I said, was never a window. It was a siding. It was siding covered.
That it was in the side of the house versus the front of the house,
in the front.
where you actually bricked up the window.
You're talking about the side of the house, correct?
No, I'm talking about the front of
right
the
above
house.
the door on the second floor.
If you look at your image, it was 3
Number
or no,
five,
it
you
was
mean?
5.
It's not there anymore. If you look at it right now, is it still bricked up?
It is not now. It was
No.
fixed, but you said that's why you got stopped. It's
So this is why we
because
have-
were
that's why
actually
we-
identified it.
So this is why we have a permit now to detail clearly what needs to be done. Because
Perfect.
there's a lot of complaint, as you can see from everyone else around.
My problem, this has been going on 4 years.
If we can.
Okay, and you
we could
keep
just-
you've had 4 years to do this. Why today, after 4 years, did you decide, oh, it's time to do something with the windows because you've done stuff and not got a permit for it?
This window was done, what, a year ago, I think?
The property has been there for 4
Excuse
years
me.
being worked on, and stuff is going on and on. Every time you go to the hearing, you're given 3 or 4 months, and it goes on for 6 months or a year.
We have someone taking notes for this meeting, so if we could just ask one question at a time and allow the applicant to respond before we move to the next question, so we can keep it all straight. That would be
You've been
appreciated.
staying on the same question.
Okay.
So what's your question? Repeat it one more time.
I just are the windows that are currently being proposed the windows that are currently installed, and are they the same size and type as the ones that were previously there, or ones that meet the requirements of the Historic Review Commission for this neighborhood?
Here, as you can see on my screen, here's the proposed new windows. They're the same size as what's there with aluminum. Okay. Does that answer your question?
I don't know what was in kind. You
It
tell
was
me.
aluminum.
Okay.
Okay.
Now it says a few pieces are missing. Can you tell me what that means?
If you look at this side right here, this piece right here, the edge is
I
missing
can't see. There you go.
right here. And if you look at so around the building, there's some pieces of aluminum siding and or flashing that's missing, and we might need to repair and or replace with the
Some of
same-
those are gutters that are already broken.
Yeah, gutters. This is flashing right above the gutters. It's called flashing that goes into
Yes.
the gutters. Okay, that's what we mean. And this siding, we plan to repaint all white again. Okay.
Okay.
Any more questions? Regarding the construction, so we can move forward and make everyone happy.
We've been waiting 4 years to be happy.
I understand. I've been waiting 4 years too.
Regarding the construction, I do have a couple more questions. So you're going to replace in kind. Is that what I hear on all of the aluminum facade materials?
Not all of it. We're repainting most of it. What we cannot repair, we're going to replace with a similar piece of metal. Mainly, the siding looks mostly fine, but there are pieces of flashing material that we may need to replace. You see this where the gutter is hanging on it? You can't reuse that piece anymore. You might have to replace it or cover it with another piece of aluminum. It looks very similar. It'll look brand new.
Yeah, I'm looking at the house right now. Correct.
I could, for clarification, on your display there, window number 1,
Sure.
that is boarded up now with particle board, looks like. What's going to happen with 1?
We plan to replace it with an in-kind aluminum sliding window.
Okay.
Okay. So on the, are we only talking about front facade at this point? Or are we talking about the rest?
Sure. Whatever you have questions with, I'm here to answer. So we can get this permit released so that it won't stop being a dump site, as you guys have complained about.
Yeah, so the fire escape. I understand that
Mhm.
it was approved to go ahead and move forward with the wooden fire escape. Right now, it is supported by 1x3s. Can you tell me a little bit more about what's going to happen with the fire escape?
We were not allowed to touch the fire escape as per our building agreement.
But you have.
Maybe no,
I'm looking at it right now. There's supports there.
Yeah.
what supports where?
It's not in your images, but it's in the house that I'm looking at right now.
你这个做什么了？楼梯做什么了？
楼梯还没有全部拆掉，重新做，
要重新拆掉
画图
画过了。
画过了，
Okay.
已經 OK 啦。
When
你可以做，零度。
we can replace it. Sorry, he got approval for replacing in kind. I'm sorry.
外面楼梯是新做，
Yeah, we got approval for in kind
已
replacement.
經畫圖申請過，可以動。
Yes, the permit was released. When 什么时候过的？
早过了，现在
A year ago. We can't touch it till we get this historical review committee passed. We can't touch any exterior.
Okay, so it sounds like the fire escape will be replaced in kind. How about the rear extension
天就可以做。
addition of the property that is currently now in siding and windows? Can you tell me a little bit more about what?
Right, can you look at my computer screen and argue about these windows right here?
No, keep going.
That's the siding right here. Which this side right here?
I'm the exterior of the property. I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, this
第一
is
个跟第五个
this is the side.
That's
That's the side, correct. What about the exterior?
Yeah,
Or
the HRC
the
only
back of
deal-
the property.
the HRC only deals with the front and the side. The back has nothing to do with anything here.
Actually, our neighbors actually had to get historic review commission for replacing a rear porch because it is visible from the
Street.
Anderson Bridge.
The rear porch or the rear porch windows? What are you talking about? The rear windows?
I'm talking about the rear of the building that you can see from the Anderson Bridge.
后面怎么办？
什么后面？
后面。
后面哪里有？
后面你那个阳台不是要做啊？
后面还
The street
修
behind
一
your
下不
house.
做，就
No, we didn't. There was no plans to touch the.
快的修一下就。
So it's accessible from
Bull
Bulair Way. You can see it from Bulair Way. You can also see it from the.
修一下，
加建那里很烂。
做玻璃做过去已经画
画了什么？
画了，我们不能天高，也是这样，它这个倒下来
你拆一会
画一半
更新的会怎么样？
就是前面就修一下就可以了，后面就修一下。
什么修一下？
怎么修都
它以前玻璃都是那种塑料玻璃吧，我把它拆掉，问他可不可以拆掉，也用这种窗户做起来，
So
做好看一点，你就跟他说。
There are no plans to really replace or damage repair. We're only allowed to do minor repairs that have no visual look on the back there. He says the glass back there has failed. It's plexiglass.
问他同意不
It's
同
not
意？
real glass. And we might have to remove that and put windows there or like in like-kind new plexiglass that was already there.
And the aluminum siding is just going to be painted or left as is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Painted or left as is white. White or left as is, yes.
Okay. What about, I know it's not construction, but the front yard currently
The front yard is last.
being
after-
used as a parking pad right now, which is a challenge for us.
Okay, you talking about right in front of the house or talking about the side of the house?
The front of the house.
The parking
Qianmian-
pad is being used for the dumpster, and they're parking their vehicles in the front yard over the grass.
他说你车趴在前面
啊？
他说你车趴在前面草台上。
车不趴前面趴哪去啊？
我车位有了，这个我
这个前面不能趴吗？我们家门口
我
不能趴吗？
现在
You're talking about on the street or on the side?
On the grass,
On the
the
grass.
front yard.
我在那个草地上，他说你
I mean, I don't know why that's
趴在草地
relevant
上
to this
现在
discussion.
你
I
跟
mean,
他
I could
Because it's part of the Historic Review Commission review, you're not allowed to actually do anything on any of the exterior property that's not in kind. I'll tell you, for example, we put a fence around our property and we had to do it with an iron fence that met Historic Review Commission requirements.
Okay. Well, as far as parking, that's not planned to be long term. It's just, when they had to move materials in, they had to get closer or whatever the reason. They not is there not their park there
There's
permanently.
parking right in front of the house. They can park on the street and still remove materials. They don't need to back into the yard and park on it.
I'm actually, as long as longer term, that is not the intent.
Yeah,
that is something we deal with regularly, and we do not want there to be front yard parking in the historic area.
It's not concrete right now, is it?
Not now, it's not.
It should not be.
Okay, then yes, there's no plans to make it parking. Like we said, we plan to just plant grass once it's all done. Last steps. The guys may want to get a little closer to the building for whatever reason it may have been. So sorry about that. It's not meant to be long-term parking, if that answers your question.
Yes, that does.
Okay.
他都不让我们拍，
不是，他以为你那个要做
停车
停车场。
没有没有。那我们装修好又种
Are
花。
there any more questions or comments regarding this project?
I have none.
So is there any replacement, and I'm sorry that I didn't see it, any replacement of roofing associated with the project?
屋顶有新做，还有申请。
Yeah, that's a future
已经
project.
申请了这个屋顶，都申请了。这个屋顶最上面的。
If you're talking about the flat roof on the top, I don't think there's any plans. It's not leaking currently.
I'm talking about on the peak, and I'm talking about on the porch.
Oh, the porch.
On the peak of the porch as well as the slope.
屋顶就是屋顶啦。
屋顶这个尖的已经也申请了，它平的大大的那个还没申请啊。
Okay, so I think as part of the I think I don't think
现在不漏雨啊。
I don't think it's leaking at the moment, so I don't think there's any plans to replace it at the moment.
I mean, right now there's excessive moss and
屋顶
should be growing out of the gutter.
Growing out of the top.
So the question is, do you plan on replacing the shingles?
还有
Are
申
in
请。
kind? If not, what material would be used?
If we replace, it'll be shingles of a similar color, as close as we can get to, for at least the porch area. And the peaks, as you said, the dormers. They're called
Just know that you have to get that approved. I mean, we've gone through trust me, I've done it multiple times. You still have to get it approved.
Okay. But all I know is as of this moment, it's not leaking. So
it actually is. I'm looking at your porch roof sagging.
Okay.
Which is probably a fascia gutter issue as well as I mean, it's significantly sagging. I'm guessing your porch roof is leaking.
Okay.
The purpose for this development activities meeting, let's stay focused for the scope of this project. But yeah, if there were to be future changes or if new roof or any other future project, that would also require a development activities meeting. So we would have a future conversation.
We can put it as part in if we can talk to the owners and think they're willing to do so. If we can get approval this time around. I mean, I know the main thing is as long as HRC will.
Yeah, I mean, if you replace in kind, then they will approve. But
okay, well, I'll just ask to put an additional part for the next meeting, for the HRC meeting, that will make sure we bring this up for this matter of the shingles. Thank you for pointing this out. Okay. So yeah, that's kind of everything. I mean,
and just so everything, you're not looking at any additional pointing, everything is okay with the mortar?
Is the pointing seems to look okay. Maybe I'm blind.
But or you can just tell me there's no plans to touch it and then you don't touch it, but it was a question.
你说你勾分要不要勾分？
你跟他说我侧面高分，如果装不好看，全部油漆，问他一下可不可以一起做掉？
后面会是怎么样？
就这侧面不是装不好看。
那个窗户不是跟那个颜色有点不一样，他意思是全部刷油漆。
I mean, they said there are some windows that are bricked in. I mean, obviously painting brick is not allowed, but they want to bring it up if you guys would be okay with it because they think that brick is kind of ugly. But it's up to you guys.
Well, it would have to be in the application. It's not up to us. It's whether or not it gets approved.
Okay. Well,
If
at this
you
point,
can't paint the brick, then it needs to be in your application.
at this point, they don't really have any plans to, but they just threw it out there. Since you brought it up.
Yeah, just to clarify, this meeting
Disappointing.
is meant to connect developers or applicants with residents and community organizations. But the Historic Review Commission, which you'll that you have plans to meet with, they'll be the group that will make the decisions related to the historic district. So if that's a discussion you would like to have with them, you can do so when you meet with the Historic Review
Okay,
Commission.
I want to hold everyone else on this. So let's go into. Can we schedule time for the HRC because we're supposed to have this meeting first, and then the neighbors can join again with any complaints or thoughts they want to do to improve. Their ears are all open. Does that sound good?
The natural procedure here is that there is this public meeting in which there is the opportunity to ask these kinds of questions. At the Historic Review Commission hearing, the public is not able to address questions directly to you.
Oh,
They
okay.
can provide testimony to the commission the same way that you will. But this is the means by which people can actually ask you questions and there can be more information received. I know that it's a little bit presumptuous of me to say this, but it seems to me like you could maybe get farther in this process if you don't treat approval either as a foregone conclusion or as a mere administrative hurdle, because the guidelines were arrived at after a lot of discussion and planning, and there have been proposed changes to people's houses in the historic review or in the historic district that have in fact not been approved, that have not met with approval. It isn't just kind of like, if you'll just approve this stuff, which is, it's an open question whether or not the Historic Review Commission will regard your proposal as being consistent with the historic review guidelines for this particular district. And so when we are asking questions, when the neighbors are asking questions, it has to do with understanding what the intent is and the staging.
Yeah.
Comments that are made about the dumpster, the parking, the manner in which the work is being done, which is true, is separate from what the work is. But this is probably the only opportunity in which people have to explain how the work has impacted.
The windows with in-kind aluminum type. The ones that were placed in previously will be removed, and that's kind of how this all started and why we're going through this review now. That we already have approval to replace in kind the wood staircase on the outside. If there's any replacing of the glass in the back, it would just be in kind plexiglass. So I think hopefully that kind of gets the whole scope of all the we're applying for this exterior work being done. But yeah, once again, thank you. What's your name, ma'am? But thank you for explaining all that and making it clear.
My name's Andrea Boykowicz. I work at Oakland Planning.
Okay, thank you.
I have one. Okay, good. I have one more question. What I can't quite understand, since this has been ongoing for 3.5, 4 years, why suddenly a shift in how we're going to replace windows or what we need to do? Why wasn't this at the very start of the whole process?
It is the owner's first time working in a historical review, HRC, I guess, place. They didn't know they had to do this.
Well, the HRC
before.
has a set of rules that you can read.
I know the owners were ignorant to those facts, so that's why we're going through this now. And as you said, they replaced the window with a plastic one or a gelled one, whatever, and that's how this whole process got started. As you know, there was a whole fiasco with the backside. They hired an engineer, spent lots of money to get it all figured out.
Well, unfortunately, they tried to fix it themselves, and it lasted about 3 months. And thank God they got an engineer, because my property's right next to it, and I thought my house was going to go too.
Yeah. So anyways, that's the past. But I mean, back to your question, because our focus now should be the exterior.
Past defines the present. Past defines the present and the future. I've not seen anything on that house done that considers this neighborhood. Not once. We've gone to 1 million hearings, At the end, everybody's going to do their thing, and then it just floats off and things get done the way they want it to be. And so if you think I'm impatient and you think I don't have a good reason, I do. I don't trust your intentions because I've not seen them follow through over 3.5 years. And I live here. I'm not an absentee landlord, an absentee renter. I live here and raised a family.
I understand.
No, you don't.
Okay, we're going to try and keep this civil and to point. We're making
yeah, and I just wanted to add, and I'm not continuing on, a little respect for the neighborhood that you're doing the work in would go an awfully long way. A cleanup of the front, the best you can do while you're doing construction, would go an awful long way. We would then have trust. We'd trust the people representing the owners. We'd trust the owners. Right now, we are so low with that trust level, and it's making the process, no doubt, very difficult for you as well. Just wanted to throw that out. Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you for bringing that up. I'll try to make it a point to them to keep it more clean, because I think that's the biggest pain point for you guys right now. And then once it's a little bit cleaner, and then
and that the dumpster is used for the house and the construction materials coming out of the house, not for every other home they own in Oakland or wherever, because that is what we're experiencing. It's not coming out of the house. It's rarely coming out of the house. It's coming from trucks all over. Sorry to go on to it. I just wanted to have that clarification, because this right now is what's so irritating to us. That's all. Thank you.
I'll tell them about that. Make sure they fix that.
No, that would be good. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Mr. Yu.
Go on my personal number. You can reach out to me personally too if you wanted. If you have other complaints. So, okay. Noted them. Okay. Okay. I think is that it? Is there any other questions I can try to answer while we're here?
That's it. Me. No. Not done. We're done.
Okay.
I believe that AJ is frozen right now. But he has messaged me that he can still hear what's going on. So if nobody has any other things to note, questions, comments, we can, go ahead and wrap this up.
I just had a question. Is there, in fact, actually a date for the Historic Review Commission hearing?
Does someone know? I don't know. Does someone know? I don't know.
You haven't received one from HRC yet?
We had to get this first before they could schedule it. So my understanding.
I see. Okay, then in that case, you don't have one. That's fine. Thank you. I just wanted to know.
Are you part of it? Could you help set it up?
There's no date scheduled yet. There is no date scheduled yet.
Great, thank you. Having the date is a matter of your application following through with the Historic Review Commission. I represent a nonprofit. We have nothing to do with cities functioning in governance here. We're trying to be an intermediary or an assistant, but we can't take your project for you. So, we're happy to make connections, but it's
from the city's perspective. There is a neighborhood planner for this neighborhood who is going to follow up with you. He's not on this meeting right now, again, for personal reasons, but he's going to follow up with you, and we're going to brief him on kind of, all the different things that we need to move forward with here.